think anytime you have something out there that's big, you want to have some sort of foundation to build it on, right? And so we try to build our program on the foundation of Pound the Rock. And for us, Pound the Rock, the PTR in Pound the Rock also stands for perseverance, truth, and respect. So we want to persevere when things get challenging. We want to tell the truth and hear the truth from the people around us that are trying to support us and help us move and grow forward. We want to respect the game, respect each other, respect our teammates, our coaches, our opponents, our officials, all of those things. And so that's kind of our foundation that we build on. And then ultimately, I think anyone's goal, and no matter in anything they're trying to do, for me, it's the game of football and teaching and coaching. And for other people, it might be business or it might be relationships or whatever, is we want to leave a legacy. And so we want to build toward leaving a legacy.
Love that.
You want to define a strong foundation. For us, it's Pound the Rock, perseverance, truth, respect. At the end of the day, I want to leave a legacy.
Time out. Let me ask you this. What if the gap between where you are today and where you want to be isn't talent? It's how you're training when no one's watching. That's what this studio podcast is all about. We don't chase motivation. We don't hype potential. We build identity through habits, standards, and systems. This is where student athletes, parents, coaches, and leaders come to sharpen how they think, prepare, and perform. I'm Coach Randy, and this is the Built Different Studio Podcast. Okay, there we go. What's up, family? Coach Randy here. Welcome to the Built Different Studio Podcast, where we don't just talk about success, we train it. Mindset, systems, habits. This is where champions in sports, school, and life are made. Let's lock in and let's build. Let me ask you something. Isn't it interesting how people say they want success, but avoid the very things that create it? Because the truth is, doing hard things isn't the obstacle. It's the requirement. And today, we've got someone in the studio who's lived that at every level. Coach Dustin Janz is a head football coach, PE teacher, and a builder of programs and people. He spent over 23 years coaching, 13 as a head coach, taking on programs that weren't winning and building them through discipline, consistency, and belief. But here's what separates him. He almost quit. As a young athlete, he wanted to walk away from football because it was too hard. And that moment, being told he couldn't quit, changed the entire direction of his life. From there, he earned a starting role. He played Division I football at Oregon State and helped turn a program with 28 losing seasons into a championship team. That's not talent, that's transformation. So today, we're talking grit, we're talking discipline, and we're talking what it really means to choose the hard path every single day. Family, help me welcome Coach Dustin Janz. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Coach Randy. Thanks for having me here. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, we're excited to have you on board today. Before we dive in, I want to start with you. Not your resume, not the highlight reel. You. For everyone listening, tell us who you are, your story, your roots, the moments that built you, because every champion has a beginning, and we want to hear yours.
Well, yeah. So my beginning goes a long ways back. I've always been, sports have always been a part of my life. I started playing soccer back at, probably 5 or 6 years old. I'm actually a missionary kid. So my parents were missionaries in Africa when I was young.
Okay.
I was born in 1979 in Zaire. Now it's the Democratic Republic of Congo. And we lived there until I was 8 years old. And so I learned how to play soccer there. And my dad was my youth soccer coach. And it was the thing that kind of got me. I was a very active person and I like to be physically active. And so it got me into, the game of soccer. When I moved back to the States as an 8-year-old, and then after my dad finished his degree at Cornell and got his first job in Los Angeles, and that was like halfway through my 5th grade year, I was about 10. The sports in general were the ticket that got me to like meet other people and got me to find friends and got me to like create some sort of social status in new places where I wasn't comfortable. And so, soccer and then in baseball were the things that really got me started when I was a young player. And when I moved from Africa to New York, we lived in upstate New York. My dad went to Cornell University to do a master's degree.
So I want to pause there real quick, Dustin. Coach Dustin, with Cornell, I want to let the listeners know Cornell is no joke. I do college planning as one of my businesses. And
Yeah.
Cornell's Ivy League, it's top in the nation, right? Top school. So I just want to, I mean, you're already coming down from, your dad is at Cornell. And you went to Oregon State, right?
I did go to Oregon State University. Yes. So I went to college there, but yeah, he did 2-year master's degree there. And then just
Okay.
the sports part of my life were what got me into having friends. And it was a big culture shock, as you could imagine, going from Africa to upstate New York. And then again, in 5th grade, we moved from upstate New York to Los Angeles. Big culture shock, and didn't have a lot of friends and felt uncomfortable, but sports were always that thing that tied me into finding people that were like me.
Love that.
And
Love that.
interested in being active. And so that's where my love of sports first started. Didn't play football competitively at all until my freshman year at Glendora High School in Los Angeles area. Had no idea. I knew I liked to be physical because I played some basketball. When I moved to Los Angeles, I started playing some basketball. But I couldn't stay in a game. I kept fouling out of every stinking basketball.
What was it? 5 fouls or 6 fouls back then? Was it 5 or 6?
Back then. Yeah, I was 6. I used every single one of them in every game I ever played. And coaches kept trying to tell me to play within my cylinder, and I just couldn't do it. And so I struggled with that, and I got frustrated by that. And so when football became an opportunity my freshman year, my 8th grade PE teacher kind of guided me, like, you should try this. And so I went in and tried it. And I really liked the idea that I could actually be physical and push people around and bump and grind and do all those things, tackling, blocking, all of that. And I enjoyed my first experience with freshman football. So that's kind of got me into the game of football. And then football, kind of after that first year of freshman football, it was a really challenging thing. My coaches at Glendora High School were tough on us. They made us work real hard. And they expected a lot out of us. We were a championship program. We had like 8 league championships in a row at the time, and CIF championship and semifinal.
What was the name of the head coach? Is he still there? Is he still coaching now, or
he's not? He's unfortunately passed. But the head coach name was Coach Karnowski when I first got there.
Okay.
Dean Karnowski, and then after Paul Lopez was my offensive line coach, and he was there with Dean the whole time he was coaching.
Okay, got it.
Coach Lopez is now the principal at Fountain Valley out there in Southern California still. So anyway, it's a really hard physical thing, and it was hard. I remember one day at practice, the coach made us do 100 up downs because somebody disrespected the trainer. And so we did 100 up downs in the hot sun. And I remember after my freshman year, going into my sophomore year, I told my parents, Mom and Dad, this is really hard, and soccer and baseball are easy compared to this. And I really don't want to do this anymore. I think I want to quit. And that's, my parents said, you know what, you've started this year, you need to finish this year. And after the end of the year, we can renegotiate and talk about it again. And I had such a good experience after I made that decision to stick with it. And I ended up starting on the varsity team as a sophomore right after that. We had a very successful season.
What position did you play, Coach? What position?
I was an offensive lineman.
Nice.
Well, I played defensive line, but then at the varsity level, I played offensive line. Okay. And then I've been an offensive lineman my whole life after that. So anyways, fell in love with the team. And then, opportunity came down the road as I graduated to go continue on, had several offers to other schools, and Oregon State was the one I ended up choosing, and had a great experience there as well. So I learned a lot from those coaches as well.
That's amazing. That's again, I want to share with our listeners, I think it's sub 6-7% of high school athletes go on to play at the next level, right? So you are elite. Coach, you almost quit football because it was too hard, you mentioned, but that moment ended up shaping your entire path. What did that experience teach you about pushing through adversity? And how can young athletes today apply that same mindset when things don't go their way?
Yeah, it changed my life completely. It was really hard. And I was a young boy. I was, 13, 14 years old at the time. And I thought I knew everything about everything. And I was the one that, had all the answers. And I'm so thankful, and I share this with my players now, I'm so thankful that my parents actually stood up and said, no, you got to finish what you started first, and then we'll renegotiate after. And then I had tremendous coaches around me that taught us the value of hard work and doing things that are hard. And, in anything we do in life, whether it's a relationship or it's a class or it's a career path or it's a sport, there's always an easy way and a hard way. And the easy way, it's easy for a reason. Lots of people want to take it, but it doesn't never always result in being elite or being extraordinary in anything you try to do.
That's right.
The hard path, the part that takes more discipline and more consistency, that's the one that leads to success at the highest level. And I was a competitive son of a gun. I have always been a competitive person. I like to win. And so I wasn't happy.
I love that.
be being average. So therefore the coaches, instilled in me that if I do the hard work and if I stay disciplined and I'm consistent in my efforts, that I will be able to be successful. And it worked. 3 years after quitting or wanting to quit, I ended up signing a Division I scholarship and got to go to school. So that was pretty fantastic. And I'm very thankful for my parents, first of all, and then my coaches after that in high school to get me there.
That right there is powerful because most people never realize how close they are to a breakthrough when they're struggling, right? And it makes me think about how that mindset translates when you step into leadership roles. So you've taken over multiple programs that weren't experiencing success and worked to rebuild them. If you did implement that one negotiable daily habit across your entire team, how would that shift the culture and long-term results? What's that one non-negotiable daily habit?
I think the biggest thing, we talk about this in our program all the time, and we have a pyramid to success here at LaSalle that we use when we develop our program. Everything that guides us is discipline is greater than motivation. Motivation is a thing that everyone's looking for. You're looking to be motivated by a coach. You're looking to be motivated by a situation or a goal or money or some sort of result. But ultimately, motivation comes and goes. There are days where motivation is high and there's days that motivation is low. Discipline is greater because discipline allows you to still go to work even on the days you're not feeling motivated. And so we try to instill in our players that discipline is greater than motivation. And if you are disciplined, then you can remain consistent. And consistency over time will equal success. And so those are the things that I feel are really guiding principles in my life. They guide me every day. I'm always trying to get a little bit better each day than I was the day before. I'm not always successful at that, but I'm always striving for that. And I try to instill that in our kids is being disciplined more than motivated. And then by being disciplined, I can be consistent. And if I'm consistent, I'll be successful. And so those are
that path. That's the path to success. And I love that because it shows that success isn't about hype. You talked about discipline is greater than motivation. I want our listeners to really understand what that means. And it's about habits repeated consistently, right? And when those habits are tested, that's where real culture starts to show up. So, Coach, you were part of a team and part of transforming a college program at Oregon State from one of the longest losing streaks in history into a championship team. What did that journey teach you about belief, and how do you instill that in athletes who haven't experienced winning yet?
Right. I think you got to break it down to its parts and not think about the whole thing. Like going from when we started in 1997 at Oregon State, it was the 28th losing season in a row. I think we ended up my first year, we were 3-7. The only games we won were non-conference against FCS opponents. And so that was the only games we won that year. But there was a mindset shift that year within our coaching staff and it was Coach Mike Riley's first year.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I remember him. I'm a big SC guy. So, I mean, who do you remember against SC at the time? Who was the stars at SC at that time?
I don't even remember who the quarterback or those guys were. I know that later on it was Carson Palmer's days. That was near the end of my time.
Okay. Yeah.
His last year at USC. It was my last year at Oregon State. But actually, he beat us on a 4th-and-1 goal line overtime touchdown that ended up beating us in the last game that would have put us into the playoffs that year. Or not the playoffs,
Okay.
Wasn't the senior year. But yeah, it was awesome. Coach Riley actually came from USC when he came up to Oregon State and recruited me and was able to go play for him. But the mindset shift was that, we were going to spend each day, we're going to try to get 1% better. Each day we're going to work on perfecting our craft. We're not going to worry about winning and losing ultimately. We're just going to worry about being perfect for us, trying to perfect practice, trying to perfect our skills and our techniques. And we're going to believe in each other, believe in our coaching staff, believe in our strength staff, and we're going to make it happen. And so, year one, we were 3-7, but we had some really close games. Like there were some times we came close at the end. And then year two, we were 3 and 10. I don't know, the first year. Second year, we were 5-7. Came close to the end, but we won a couple Pac-10 games, and so we were feeling really good. But we were just focusing on the process and focusing on the steps by step. And so if I learned anything from my college coaches, it was, learning how to perfect the craft. That was the most important thing. And doing 1% each day, like not trying to bite off more than you can chew. And then Riley left. He got a job with the San Diego Chargers after our second year there. And then Dennis Erickson came. And Dennis Erickson was a former national championship coach. And
Miami, right?
Miami, exactly. And then was an NFL head coach and came from the NFL to come coach us at little old Oregon State. And that blew up our whole mindset of like, hey, people believe we can do this. If a guy that's formerly a national champion coach and a head NFL coach wants to come coach us, then we must be doing something right. And so that made us even more confident that we could get where we wanted to go. And then in our second year with him, we ended up 11-1 and won a Fiesta Bowl championship, won a Pac-10 championship, and we're ranked number 4 in the country. And so just 4 years after starting in college, we were a top 5 team in the country. And it was all about just one step at a time, perfecting your craft, believing in your teammates, believing in yourself, believing in your coaching staff and the process, and then just living that process day over day, consistency over time.
All right, let's pause right here for a second. I want to ask you something. If nothing changed over the next 6 to 12 months, would your student athlete be more confident, more prepared, closer to their goals, or still hoping things just work out? That's exactly why Athletic Connect is the primary sponsor of this show, because the difference we see, it's not talent, it's structure, it's mindset, it's having a real system. Inside Athletic Connect, we help student athletes build confidence, discipline, and a clear plan from daily habits to performance to creating a digital identity that actually gets noticed by colleges. And this isn't just basketball. This is for student athletes in every sport who are serious about their future in the classroom, on the court, on the field. So here's the move. Go check out athleticconnect.com and see how we're helping athletes become built different in sport, in school, and in life. All right, let's get back to the show. And that's huge because, like you said, breaking it into parts, getting 1% better, perfecting your craft, because belief isn't built when you're winning. It's built when you're not, right?
Exactly.
And a lot of that belief comes from the people who help shape you along the way. You mentioned a lot of them. You've been influenced by great coaches and life experiences, from growing up overseas to competing at the highest level. Who helped build you into the leader you are today? And what's one principle you carry into your coaching every single day?
Well, I think there's lots of people that have helped lead me. I know going back to the high school days, Coach Karnowski, Coach Lopez, my offensive line coach, Coach Day, Coach Tilton, also coaches that influenced me back in high school. From them, I learned, just doing hard things to become the best you can be. In college, Mike Riley, Dennis Erickson, my offensive lines coach, Greg Smith, just understanding how to perfect my craft day over day. As a professional, once I became a teacher and a coach, I got a lot from my first coach that I worked for, Carl Kiefer, out of Phoenix, Arizona. He was at Mount Point, late great, first coach in high school history in Arizona to win 300 games. Wow. He taught me the foundations of football. He would send me out a week ahead of time and watching the opponent and handwrite all the scouting report, formation,
okay.
all of that, just understanding the foundations of football and how I think about football and how I talk about football and how I watch football as a coach, from a coaching perspective, not a player's perspective. And then Matt Lewis, who was a guy I used to coach with at McClintock High School in Phoenix area. Matt Lewis, a great multi-state championship caliber coach, and he taught me how to simplify the game and make the game as simple as possible so kids play and not think. And so those are the guys that really influenced me. And then, what I try to take in and implement day to day now as a, professional teacher and coach is trying to teach the kids how to do the little things each day to help lead to their success. And that thing doesn't always have to be, big. It can be little. We have a thing here at LaSalle Prep we call pound the rock mentality. And we used to pound a rock before every practice at Glendora High School back in the day. Well, here at LaSalle, we installed a rock. And the whole idea is that eventually, if we're going to break that rock, and that rock for us is going to represent a state championship here at LaSalle, which has only been done once before, we have to make consistent efforts of trying to strike that rock in order for us to be successful. And so we touch the rock for every practice, for every game, for every workout. And it's a reminder that we're going to put in that extra effort today, that in time, strike after strike after strike, that rock is going to split, right? And so that's the mindset that we use every day. And it goes back to all those guys that read, do hard things in order to get better, right? Perfect your craft in the process of being successful. And then, in football, the foundations that I learned from Coach Kiefer, and then the simplicity I learned from Coach Lewis, those things all, have guided me.
That's amazing. That's amazing. It's interesting how those early experiences end up defining how we lead others later on. And when you look at the next generation, it raises the question of what they need most right now. So, Coach, with everything you've seen in today's athletes, what's the one mindset shift they need to make to truly separate themselves? And if you did commit to that shift daily, how would it change their future?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me that I notice is that our kids have a hard time with failure or struggle.
Yeah.
They don't embrace it. They
Yeah.
try to avoid it, and it's not just them trying to avoid it. I think their parents also. I think parents in
Yeah.
this day and age,
Yeah.
including myself, a young daughter, she's 10, and we want the best for our kids. We love our kids so much that we
Sure.
want them to be successful, and so sometimes we want to get rid of the hard stuff and make it a little bit easier for them. And I think that kids suffer from that because they don't really learn how to handle the adversity the way that we like them to. And so they shy away from hard things. They shy away from things that could lead to failure. And I want young people to know that it's okay to fail. In fact, failure is part of the process. You have to
Love that.
learn how to fail first so you can then learn how to win. Like if you can fail right, you can fail well, right, then you can learn how to win because and this as well, is you learn more from failing than you do from winning. You learn from winning, hey, it felt good, it was a lot of fun, we had a great time, we're good, successful, but you don't really learn what your weaknesses are. You don't learn how to work on your weakness. And if you learn how to fail and you understand, hey, I didn't fail, failure doesn't make me a failure. Failure just makes me an opportunity to learn to get better for the next opportunity that I get. And so what did I learn about myself? What weaknesses can I improve on? Where do I fall short? And now let me do the work to then go try to fix those things. And then ultimately, the next time I have an opportunity, I have a better chance to win.
And that's the difference maker right there between potential and performance. Being able to understand, don't shy away from the hard things and knowing you're right, it's okay to fail. And if someone listening actually applied that today, they wouldn't be the same athlete a year from now, right? Being able to fail. Coach Dustin, this is amazing. Last question for you is, I want to give you open mic. I mean, we covered a lot of information, a lot of background, a lot of philosophies. You've taught a lot of our listeners of how to be a better athlete, better student, better person. I want to ask you, is there anything you want to cover or share with our listeners and our audience members? Something that we've already covered, something we haven't covered. It could be related to your football program, to your school, any of your experiences. Kind of open mic for you, Coach Dustin. Anything you want to share with our listeners?
I think anytime you do anything that's big, right? Like for us, we're trying to win a state championship here at the 5A level at LaSalle Prep. I think anytime you have something out there that's big, you want to have some sort of foundation to build it on, right? And so we try to build our program on the foundation of Pound the Rock. And for us, Pound the Rock, the PTR in Pound the Rock also stands for perseverance, truth, and respect. So we want to persevere when things get challenging. We want to tell the truth and hear the truth from the people around us that are trying to support us and help us move and grow forward. We want to respect the game, respect each other, respect our teammates, our coaches, our opponents, our officials, all of those things. And so that's kind of our foundation that we build on. And then ultimately, I think anyone's goal in anything they're trying to do, for me, it's the game of football and teaching and coaching. And for other people, it might be business or it might be relationships or whatever, is we want to leave a legacy. Is we want to build toward leaving a legacy.
Love that.
You want to define a strong foundation. For us, it's Pound the Rock, perseverance, truth, respect. At the end of the day, I want to leave a legacy. Well, how do I get to that leaving a legacy? And for me, and I've already said this earlier today, is, for me, the guiding principles that keep me going towards leading that legacy is that discipline is greater than motivation. Consistency over time will equal success. And if I can, live the foundation, work on those, use those guiding principles to guide me down the path, eventually I can leave a legacy in whatever it is. And for me, it's just being remembered in wherever I was, whatever I was doing long after my time is done. When I retire from coaching football, after 30 years or however many years I end up making it, then hopefully people remember what I gave to this world, what I gave to the program, and vice versa. I want the same for my players. When they come in as freshmen, they don't know much about football. They're learning from the very beginning. And our goal is to instill that foundation, use the principles of discipline and consistency to guide them to leave a legacy so that when they graduate, the teams after them will remember who they are and what they brought to our team, what they brought to our program here at LaSalle.
And I'm getting chills and goosebumps as you're talking about that, leaving legacy and everything you shared. And the stuff, your philosophies, right? It's not just football, it's life, and it's all sports across. Coach Dustin, I appreciate you for sharing your story, your perspective, and your leadership today. This is exactly what Built Different looks like. Family, that was real. Coach Dustin didn't just talk about football. He broke down what it takes to stay committed when the things get hard. Discipline, consistency, and the decision not to quit when it would be easier to walk away. He's lived it, from struggling to fit in, to almost quitting, to building programs and shaping young men. And what stands out is this: success is built daily. So if you're an athlete, understand that growth lives in discomfort. If you're a parent, remember that development takes time and structure. And if you're a coach, your standard becomes their ceiling. Build that legacy. Family, here's the reality. Most people want results, but they're not willing to commit to the process. In order to accomplish long-term success and confidence, you need exactly structured habits, disciplined routines, and a system that holds you accountable daily. That's how you separate yourself. Coach Dustin, we appreciate you. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, your expertise, and your mindset. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Randy. You're very welcome. Thanks for the time. I really appreciate it, Coach Randy.
And this is where Athletic Connect comes in. Through tools and services like the Victory Compass, Power Hour, Mindset Mirror, Goal Sync, Fight On Mentality, Built Different Mindset, and the College Pathway Intelligence, athletes and families get more than inspiration. They get a real framework for growth, a framework that helps them gain clarity, develop elite habits, strengthen their mindset, and make smarter moves for the future. If today's episode resonated with you, don't just listen and move on, apply it. Watch and listen to the Built Different Studio Podcast on all major podcast and video platforms, including Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. And if you believe your story, your leadership, or your journey can impact the next generation, visit www.athletic.connect.com. That's with an IQ, and fill out the application to be on the show. This is bigger than content. This is about building champions in school, sport, and life. Handle today with intention. That's how champions are built. Fight on. Remember this, family. Talent might open the door, but your mindset, your habits, and your discipline decide how far you go. So keep showing up, keep building, and keep choosing the harder road, because that's the one that makes you built different. I'm Coach Randy, and this is the Built Different Studio Podcast.